past 31 meditations. And for those of you who have not yet joined, if you want to, the Facebook group page where you can get some more inspiration and connect to people beyond just being here. So today's meditation is being led by Suzi von Mensenkampff, direct from Cork, Ireland. And she is a delight. If you haven't heard her before, she is a dear friend, and she's also making this feast possible. She, along with Sue Cooper, who is the founder of Moments of Mass Mindfulness. And the three of us with Ashley produced this for you. And I love it. It's a labor of love, and we're having a great time. And so I ask, what is this feast preparing you for? What is this feast preparing you for? Anyway, Suzi, it's good to see you. Take it away.
I'm taking it away over here in County Cork in Ireland, and it's an absolute pleasure, as always, to be here. I'll take a breath now and arrive myself. I've been kind of running to the meditation, but you know, when you run to the meditation, you need to take a short breath, maybe a long breath actually, and arrive in your physical body as well as in your mind and fully come to where we are here. So anyway, I've arrived. Today I'm excited by Sarah's question, you know, what is the feast preparing us for? Because I do feel what you're saying, Sarah. I feel like we're kind of being prepared for even something greater. It's been like this sort of incubation period where we keep coming back every day. And today I want to have a little bit of fun. I've done other practices leading to well, there's a feedback, right? Leading up to now, where we've gone into silence, we've done self-inquiry practice, we've done mantra practices, we've done a gratitude practice. And today I wanted to have a little bit of fun with you. So I invite you to join me in the practice today with the real kind of a childlike curiosity and playfulness, because I was teaching mindfulness last week and we were looking at creativity. And, you know, creativity is really, really important part of a way of empowering ourselves, is how I would describe it, because sometimes we need to find a creative solution, you know, to maybe a problem or a challenge that we're looking at. And if we keep looking at it, you know, the same way, it's hard to kind of move beyond it. So with a creative solution, sometimes you have to come back to it with fresh eyes. So the best way to, I suppose, access that creativity, one of the best ways for me anyway, is meditation and mindfulness practices. So the practice today is based on a mindfulness practice to access that creativity. And I'll invite you to bring into the practice maybe a current challenge or something that you're kind of not quite sure what the solution is, you know, whatever it is that pops into your mind, or just enjoy the practice as it is and see how it flows through you. You don't have to have an issue to begin the practice, to be sure. Something will definitely crop up when we go into it. There's huge benefits in accessing your creativity because you're going into the right side of your brain. And I was posting it on Instagram earlier today to promote this practice. And I was thinking about what Albert Einstein said about imagination. And he said, imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress and giving birth to evolution. So in this practice, we're going to go into that creative, magical aspect of your own imagination. And hopefully after the practice, some solutions will just magically appear, or, you know, maybe it'll take a couple of days, but who knows? But that's the intention for the practice today. And what was the other thing I wanted to share with you before we began? Let me have a quick look. We're going to be creating these new neural networks, and imagine that the imagination that we're accessing is like unlocking us to what I consider like higher states of consciousness, or maybe an alternative biological response. And I'm going to go into more of that after the call about the 7 biological responses. And one of those is creativity, the creative response. So I'll talk more about that at the end of the practice, but for now I invite you to get cozy and comfortable. You know, comfort is key. Allow yourself this kind of childlike curiosity. We're not going into something deep here. It's just more like an exploration is the kind of attitude I'd like you to bring to this practice. Oh, great. Somebody in the chat said this is exactly what they need. There you go. See? Okay, and as you begin the practice, we're just going to tune in using all of the senses first, looking around, all of the things in the room. Do you need to change anything, make any adjustments? And then once everything is taken care of, we'll start to settle you down. So sitting comfortably, ideally, with your back straight. And then just come into thinking about all of the different sounds in the environment. And even if there are sounds in the neighboring rooms or outside your door or outside, just allow them to come and go. You know, they're not going to spoil the practice for you. So just noticing the sounds, we'll welcome them and then we'll let them go. And the best instruction here is just to keep coming back to the practice. And even if you get lost, that's fine too. Just keep coming back, okay? So with that, I invite you now to close your eyes if that's good for you, or if not, you can just cap them and soften your focus with like a downward gaze, just so that your attention isn't going to be grabbed by everything else that's going on around the room, okay? And having done that now, we'll just connect with the breath in its natural state. So you can just ask yourself, how am I breathing? And as you ask that question, you can just notice your breath. Where do you meet the breath? Is it at the nostril opening? Is the breath cool or warm? Is it fast or slow? Is it loud or faint? And by bringing your attention to your breath, we're going to have a subtle intention now to allow the breath to slow down and to deepen naturally of its own accord. Notice where the breath moves within your physical body. Is there a subtle expansion on the in-breath? And notice what's happening as you breathe out. Observing the pause between the inhale and the exhale. Bringing all of our awareness to the present moment now, using our breath. And moving into a heart-centered breath as we settle in a little bit more into the practice. And I invite you now to take a long, slow, deep breath in. And as you do so, feel an expansion across your chest. And then pause at the top of that inhale and then release it and let it go. If your mouth is softly closed, that's ideal, and you're breathing through your nose now. And as we settle into this heart-centered breath, we're going to connect with our own childlike curiosity here. So smiling softly on the inside And if you wish, on the outside, connecting with that childlike curiosity, your own creativity. And in this practice, as I introduced as we began, we're going to tap into our imagination and get playful and have some fun with it. So in this practice, we'll be drawing together a dream advisory committee. And don't worry about what actually happens in the visualization, just witness it as it arises, as it comes up, without trying too hard or forcing or concentrating too hard. Don't worry about trying to remember what's happening in the practice. You'll remember exactly what you need at the end. And after the practice, you'll have more time to reflect on those answers and the experience. And you can write some more on it in your own time at the end of the practice. So as we begin now, we'll have an open, childlike curiosity, bringing to mind now any particular challenge that you may be facing. You can simply choose one issue. Maybe it's something that's just on the top of your mind. Maybe a challenge in a relationship. Or maybe it's about finding more balance in your personal life. So we'll take a few moments as this challenge or situation arises in your mind. And when it's formed, I invite you to join me now in this large open space. This big room, it's bright and light. And if you can visualize in the center of the room, there's a large table. And allow it to take a form now. It could be circular, square, rectangle, oval, whatever feels good. Notice if the room is decorated in any particular way. Noticing the floor, if there are any light fixtures, windows. And now around this particular table in the center of the room, we're going to place 5 large chairs. They can be tall, high-backed chairs, whatever comes to mind, whatever material, whether it's wood or if it's a fabric. Just see the chairs taking a form. Placing them around the table. And see one chair that's allocated for yourself. Maybe it's at the top of the table. What we're going to do now is we're going to connect to our imagination, and we're going to fill the other seats with your dream team. This team will consist of the smartest, the most innovative, creative, and compassionate people that you can think of. So placing your attention on the first chair, we're going to fill the seat with the smartest and the most innovative person that you can think of. It may be somebody who's living or not. It may be somebody known to you or not. So you can take your time, whether it's Oprah, the Buddha, Richard Branson, your grandmother, whoever comes to mind, allow them now to take their place on the first chair. And as they come into the room to take the chair, smiling at them, greeting them. Once that first person is settled, we'll move to the second chair now. Now, the second seat is going to be filled by the most creative person that you know or that you can think of right now. It could be a famous artist like Picasso. It could be a musical artist like Lady Gaga. Anybody who comes to mind now that you believe embodies creativity. And when they arise in your imagination, invite them in. Let them take their seat, welcoming them into your space, to the table. And when the second person has settled in, just move your awareness now and your attention to the third seat. And the third seat is going to be taken by the most compassionate person that you know or that you can think of. Maybe it's the Dalai Lama or Mother Teresa, your mom or your dad. Just take some time to consider who is the compassionate person joining you today. And when someone comes to mind, simply allow them now to take their place in the third seat. And if you're finding that you're indecisive, just go with the first one. Or if you're trying to ditch the person off the seat, whoever's sitting there now, let's go with that one. And now you're going to welcome the person for the fourth seat. This is somebody who can really get stuff done. Somebody who is just good for the job. Anybody at all. It could be an entrepreneur. Just the smartest or the most innovative person that you can think of that comes to mind. And allow them to take a form and take their seat at the table. Now that your seats are filled, sitting back in your own chair, looking around at the 4 seats around you, and just see who has come in to create your front row. This is your front row to help you resolve your particular challenge and come to maybe some creative solutions. See yourself sitting there, sharing with them the challenge or the situation that you wish to explore today. Imagine yourself making contact with the one in the first chair. This is the smartest person that you know. And then in the second chair, see yourself stating the situation to the most creative person that you know. And then moving to the third chair to the most compassionate person that you know. And then finally to the fourth chair, to that person who's there because you know they're the ones who could really get this done. Imagine this brainstorming taking place, this everybody sharing their ideas, listening one by one to what each has to say and how they approach your challenge. Notice if there's a difference of opinion between any of the people in your chair, in the chairs. Noticing if there are any solutions being offered to you that you like or dislike. Remember, this is your front row. Allow your imagination to run wild with this exercise, with this experience. As you listen to what each one has to share. And giving the space to receive the advice from the smart one. And the advice from the creative one. What's the compassionate one saying to you? What's the one that you have faith in who could really get this done for you, saying, consider their advice. listening to what each one has to say, considering all of the different opinions and suggestions. And then moving from each one, thanking each of them. Imagine yourself making eye contact, smiling, reciprocating their generous spirits, their enthusiasm and inspiration. And as you thank each of them who showed up today, allow them now to fade out of your awareness and just see yourself sitting in the room on your own, digesting this experience, bringing to mind that issue or challenge that you started with. Then bringing into your heart the suggestions and solutions that you were offered, bringing them into your heart. And trusting. Trusting that your heart knows, your heart has the answer. And letting go the whole problem now, letting the whole experience go. Maintaining your eyes closed or in a downward position, gaze. I want you to imagine yourself sitting in your own room now, back in your own physical space. Whether you're in your living room, your car, your office. And in your mind's eye, see yourself sitting where you are now. Imagine you're looking into the room and you're seeing your physical body sat on the chair, doing this guided meditation practice. Keeping your eyes softly closed, ideally, or with a downward gaze. Feeling into your center of your chest, your heart. And move your attention from your heart to the palms of your hands. Imagine a tingling or a warmth at the center of the palms of your hands. And then gradually move your awareness back to your heart. Now move your awareness outside of your physical body. See if you can imagine in your mind's eye the room that you're in right now, the room that you're occupying. Can you imagine where the door is? Or the opening? Are there any windows? Can you visualize the chair that you're sitting in? The furniture adjacent to this chair? Keeping your eyes softly closed. Can you visualize the floor where your feet are? The texture of the floor? And imagine now you're bringing this attention to a single point in that room. I invite you to choose a point in the room, whether it could be the door handle or a light fixture, but something that you're really familiar with. And bring all of your awareness and your attention to the door handle or the light fixture, whichever comes easiest. And then move your awareness from the external environment back to your hands, back to your physical body, to the palms of your hands. From your hands, go back to your heart and rest and pause here for a few moments. Now we're going to move your awareness back outside your physical body one more time. Imagine you're stepping outside of the room that you're in now, whether it's outdoors or in the adjoining room or space. Put your awareness as if you're out there, standing, looking around. What are the sounds? Are there any particular smells? What are the qualities or the textures or the colors? Just explore outside of your room now with your 5 senses. In your mind's eye, imagining that you're just wandering around aimlessly, as if you're looking at it all for the first time. And then gradually making your way back in, seeing yourself seated again on your chair, moving all of your awareness into your physical body for the last time, fully connecting in, connecting with that heart-centered breath. We're going to begin to release the practice now. So let go of all of the visualizations, let go of all the impressions and the sensations, the stories. Gradually bringing your full awareness into your physical body now. Feel the seat beneath you, supporting you. Feel both of your feet flat on the floor. Feel the palms of your hands. And again, let's move our awareness to meet the breath from the heart to the tip of the nose where it enters your body. And just resting here for a moment or two as we come to the end of the practice. Gradually allowing your awareness to return now to a normal state, becoming aware of the sounds in the environment, the sensations in your body. And as we draw the practice to a close, I'm going to invite you just to pause where you are. And I just wanted to share this quote from Steve Jobs. And in case you don't know who he is, he's the guy who invented probably the device that you're using to experience this meditation, the Apple phone and iPad and MacBook and so on. And this is what Steve Jobs had to say about creativity. He says, creativity is just connecting things. When you ask creative people how they did something, they feel a little guilty because they don't really do it. They just saw something and it seemed obvious to them after a while. So I just want to leave you with that. I want you to consider your own creativity. Do you consider that you are a creative person? Do you consider that you seek creative solutions in your own life? Have you ever considered the creative response? If you want to know more about that creative response, we're going to expand on it on Saturday at the, what do we call it, Self-Care Saturday workshop with Dr. Shivani Sood, who's tuning in from India. We're going to look at Ayurveda and healing relationships. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the 7 biological responses there, so we'll expand on it then. But I just want you to realize that when you have any particular challenge or situation, or you're trying to tap into that creativity, mindfulness is definitely one of the practices. Becoming more mindful, slowing things down, monotasking. And there are so many ways that you can access that creativity. Guided visualizations are a really good way to do it. And maybe you don't particularly like those types of meditations, but even exploring what we did at the end of this practice, moving into your body like we did with the hands and the heart, and then imagining that we were exploring the room around us, and just moving between those two aspects is another way to activate the right side of your brain and stimulate the creative response. So if you do need to write anything down, I encourage you to make a couple of notes at the end of the practice. And we'll finish the recording now, or the live stream, so that we can have a few minutes in case anybody has